Hello and welcome to Excellence. This week on Expert Speaks, we have guest speaker, Trevor Glover. Trevor Glover is an entrepreneur. Not only that, has spent many years within corporate America. And today he is here to share his story as well as his experience on what he has done in order to elevate himself to become a business owner and give you advice if you're looking to start within the industry that he's in. Thank you so much, Trevor, for being here. I really appreciate it. And tell everyone about you as well as the businesses that you started.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I definitely appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk about my experiences. My name is Trevor Glover. I am the CEO of T. Glover Enterprises. Right now, we have two businesses under construction. My Food and Rhythm Grill, and we have a nonprofit organization dedicated to the local kids in and around Stafford for a local basketball program. So those are two of the projects that I'm currently working on, and I'm excited to see them grow.
Well, I am excited for you. And Trevor, I have known you for a very long time. But let me ask, what was the age that you really sat down and thought about becoming an entrepreneur?
I think it's always been something that's been attractive. Like, everybody walking this earth wants to work for themselves. This is an idea that at some point we all have. But for me, 2018, 4 years ago, mid 30s, took me being on my deathbed to recognize that if I'm going to be working for the rest of my life, then I need to make sure I'm doing something that I want to do.
Absolutely.
That's when the light switch came on. And since then, I've been crafting, working on the job, off the job. So that's really what did it for me, was that eye-opening experience. I don't know if you're familiar, but I follow Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
He's a motivational speaker.
Yes.
Catch him on YouTube. A lot of followers, but his biggest thing is find that thing that you enjoy and do that, right? So, laying on that hospital bed, revisited my love for cooking. And, I said, hey, that's when we originally started the Instagram page for Trevor's Eastern Beats, which was my original name. And then my sons are involved in athletics.
Oh.
So, having them involved, having myself being involved, obviously having a love for sports, and being in the community I'm in, where it's a real small, tight-knit community, I said, why can't we provide a place for the local kids to play basketball? So I'm talking training. So we have a K-4 training program for the local kids in Stafford, basketball, and AAU competition. So, next spring, we'll be putting our first AAU teams on the court. And that's an exciting venture because, like I said, I coach basketball. My kids play basketball. I love the game of basketball. So, I took that principle of finding the things that I love to do, and instead of working on somebody else's dream, now is the time for me to start working on my dreams, to provide ownership for my kids, and to buy my time back.
Absolutely. So really just creating that legacy. But it's always been in you. But you would say around about your mid-30s, and when you approached a portion of life that you were like, man, I may not get to see tomorrow. What am I doing to prepare myself, and what am I doing to prepare my family? Love it, love it. And then you also mentioned having those ties to the community. Are these the first business ventures that you have ever explored? Like, did you just start these two and you were successful, or did you attempt this before and maybe had challenges?
I've always had a love for cooking, so I can tell you, I've been cooking for 10 years now. And 2018 was the year where it flipped for me, where I said, you know what, this can go from being a hobby to realistically creating a business that I can serve others and take my passion, turn that in a way for me to provide for myself and my family. So that's really what it was. It was that moment where I recognized that I can do this, right? You always worry about, how can I do this? You lose confidence in yourself. You're worried about what they think about what you're doing. And you have to have that moment where you say, you know what? I don't care what they have to say. I'm going to do this. And then you just got to put the work behind it. Anybody can wake up and say they want to be an entrepreneur. The hard part is getting to work every day.
Exactly. So in that, I know that everything is not perfect. What would you say would be the three main challenges in taking the steps to becoming an entrepreneur, or the challenges that you have faced along this journey?
I say the first one is the scariest one, right? The elephant in the room. of not having a job. And to be quite transparent, I got fired back in April. Company I worked for didn't appreciate my talents. They didn't understand what they had, and they put me in a position where I had to make a choice. We made a choice. So that was the turn on point, because it's always about the money, right? You worry about, can I pay my bills? Can I buy my kids this? Can I buy my kids? But once I stopped worrying about the money, that's when everything started to fold. So that's the first thing is obviously you have to be able to provide income for yourself to be able to take care of you and your family, right? The second thing is having the confidence to say, I am a chef or I am a cook. I am confident in you tasting my food. And you always go through those moments where you start to doubt yourself, right? And that's where that self-doubt can really kill a dream. And going back to Gary Vaynerchuk, he's really big on having no regrets, right? So the ability to look back 20 years from now and say, hey, I wish I would have, I don't want that. So we do it now, so then we can stop waiting. So that was the second thing, was the fear of putting my product out there. And now, the big thing now is growing these businesses, right? I mean, you can put that first Instagram post out. First week of sales is awesome, right? Because the people want to buy into your product.
Right.
Now you have to get these people to come back.
The consistency.
So I think the consistency is key. And that's what I'm working on now, is growing my businesses. We have a foundation, and we want to make sure that we're putting the steps in place to make sure we grow these businesses properly.
Awesome. So also with that being said, you said, hey, I want to make sure that I'm building this infrastructure to make sure that I'm putting myself in place to build these businesses to expand. How important is it for you to have a pre-business plan before you even start going into work? And what does that process look like?
Oh, extremely. So for me, my website, my domain names, being incorporated with the state, those simple steps I did while I was employed. So you have to prepare. You can't just wake up one day and say, oh, I hate my boss, I'm gonna quit my job because I wanna work for myself, right? We all think we can do it better. But realistically, that job is giving you support. That job is giving you structure. That job is giving you a paycheck every 2 weeks. Guaranteed paycheck. So I think that for me, that's what it was in that moment.
Awesome. So if there was anything that you could know, well, if someone said, hey, if there was something I could know then to help me now, what do you wish that you knew before you started, that now that you've come across this journey and that you've experienced, that you can give our audience members to kind of help them kind of avoid some of those pitfalls?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question, because this is where most people fail. And I'm no expert, don't get me wrong. Patience. Gotta have patience. You have to understand you're playing the long game. I'm not gonna wake up one day, start a business, and instantly become successful. Now, we also live in the age of social media, the internet.
Okay.
Like, we live in an age where this interview right here can reach millions of people in a very short amount of time. So you have to capitalize on that. But for me, it's gotta have patience. Have to play the long game. You have to believe in yourself and put the foundations in place.
Awesome. So many would want to know, okay, I want to start my business, but when am I going to make money? How long did it take, excuse me, for you to see a return on your investment?
How long did it take, or how long does it take in?
Exactly.
And that's an important point, right? You don't get into entrepreneurship to make a bunch of money.
Right.
I think that's the problem. Now, obviously, you don't want to be operating in the red. Obviously, you don't want to be losing money. But realistically, as a business, the first 5 years, you have to plan on not getting the return that you want. So now the key is the consistency and growing the business. So for me, what that is if I have one customer that buys a lunch from me, that order better be on time. You have to deliver. So it really goes back to that principle of the patience of knowing that one day this thing is going to grow.
Absolutely. So what I hear you saying is you may not start out making a ton of money, but you are putting yourself towards your passion, and you're making sure that you're staying consistent so that you can grow.
Yeah.
And those that do participate in your business, make sure that you exemplify excellent customer service to make sure that they return. Sounds about right.
Yeah, small business customer service is key, because your customers are your money. They have millions of places to go get food from anywhere, right? What makes them want to get food from me? Right. And those are the principles that I stand on.
Awesome. Another question, around about what time during your businesses that you said, I'm able to take on another business? When were you able to assess from starting the first adventure to then conjuring up the next? At what point in time did you evaluate that you're like, okay, I'm at the 6-month mark, now I have this on the roll, I'm gonna bring this in? Like, what actually, or what's that process or that formula?
That's a really good question. For me, it was, understanding that I have a handle on my one business. Now, this is another thing people struggle with. Just because I serve sandwiches during the day doesn't mean I can't coach basketball at night. So a lot of times we're afraid to make that because we're worried about, well, can Trevor coach basketball and can he cook? It doesn't matter because this is what I'm giving you. This is the product I'm delivering. So I think that is very important to understand that you can do that other business. So for me, it took me getting to my baby. It is my restaurant, TrevFoodandRhythm.com or FoodandRhythmGrill.com. Trev's Food and Rhythm on Instagram, Facebook. And Stafford Bengals, we just got going, so we'll talk a little more about that later. Absolutely. But it got to a point where I was ready to take on additional responsibility. The important part of being an entrepreneur is you own your time. Nobody owns my time. So I'm not going to be cooking 24 hours a day. A lot of, this, and we all know this, a lot of what we do as entrepreneurs gets done at 3 a.m., right? Because time is money. So for me, that is the main principle that helps me kind of operate both. Because as a coach, because I coach basketball, I can sit there and develop a playbook at 3 a.m. while my boys are sleeping, right? So you have to understand, even though I'm working for myself, I'm still on the clock. And time is money. So yeah, I go to bed at 9 o'clock every day, but I'm up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We get right back to it.
Right. So what I'm hearing you saying is, it's not really a formula, but you have to understand that time management is extremely important, and knowing your bandwidth to be able to handle the services that you're going to provide and make sure that it is of quality.
Definitely.
Love it. All right, so I know we've taken so much of your time, Trevor, but I do want to give you an opportunity to, again, tell others where they can find you, where they can experience the excellence in your food, the excellence of your coaching, and really being that pillar of the community. But what advice do you have to anyone, not even just looking to get into the food industry or to become a part of the community within sports, but that's looking to do anything outside of corporate America? And what is the advantage and disadvantage of being a business owner versus being in corporate America?
So my best, I didn't cut you off because I get excited about this, but my best advice is do not worry about what people think about what you're doing. And there's another way I want to say that, but I will keep it PG-13.
PG for everyone.
But you have to have tunnel vision. I understand, you need a support group. So, my biggest asset is my support group. My family understands that, yes, this is a difficult thing, but we're going to push through this because we understand the outcome. You have to have a support group. Now, if the support group that you have is telling you can't do this, and this is really directed at the younger crowd, the pre-college crowd, coming out of high school, you have mom telling you you have to go to college, you have dad telling you you have to go find a job, and that's in that moment where you have to tell yourself, I'm going to do this for me because I don't want to look up and I'm in my mid-70s and I have regrets. Now, the pro to that, like I said before, is time management and the ability to own your time. I spent 17 years working in retail corporate America. I had to worry about their perception of me. I had to work 45 to 50-hour work weeks. As a district manager, my phone never stopped ringing. And you're putting in 60 hours a week for somebody else's dream, right? So the pro is you have all this time that is yours, have to do something with it. Now the con is directly associated. You're on the clock. If your product does not sell, you either have to figure it out or you may have to go back to working. And that's okay, right? That's okay. I may look up one day and I go back to working. I'm cool with that. At least I can say I tried, right? So the con of that is, the the nervousness of not knowing where that next meal is going to come or where that next paycheck is going to come. But for me, that's what drives me.
Awesome. So I like that you mentioned, hey, I may have to actually go back to work, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that you failed as an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
It may mean that, hey, I really just have to go back into corporate America to be able to fund my dream. And in your opinion, is there anything wrong with having to use corporate America to fuel what it is that you need? Because I know everyone says, I gotta get a business loan or something of that nature. Do you think that that is necessarily the case?
No, I think that you have to do what you have to do for you. And to be transparent, if my wife didn't work, there's no way I may not be able to be an entrepreneur. So it goes both ways. It's also to understand that you can work and still have a side hustle or a side business.
Right.
And that's where I think we limit ourselves. We restrict ourselves to that one thought process. I have to have it. No, you go work that 9 to 5, you show up on time every day, you get that paycheck. The thing is what are you doing with that money? Are we building something on the side or are we spending it? You know, are we investing it? So the average person can go work a job and still trade stocks, still get into crypto, NFTs, that space is huge right now. You can do that from your phone. You don't have to be at work. So the idea isn't to beat on people that work a regular job, that choose to work a 9 to 5, because those people are winning also, right? And it all comes down to what you want. If that's what you want, then be the best employee you can be.
Right.
I don't want that for myself. I like owning my time, and I like the ability to be able to take what I love doing and turning that into a source of income.
I love it. Well, Trevor, thank you again so much
for
coming to Expert Speaks and allowing them to experience the excellence of your particular journey. Now, please tell our audience and our blog members where they can find you if they're looking to get a taste of your delicious food. Also, if they are looking to be a part of the Stanford Bengals basketball club. Let them know exactly where they can find you.
Yeah, so I run a food delivery and catering service, www.foodandrhythmgrill.com. We do serve lunches on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, 11 to 4, in the Southwest Houston area. We're talking Sugar Land, Stafford, Missouri City, Pearland, Southwest Houston. So if you don't want to cook for yourself for lunch, we have a lot of people that are working from home. Call us, we'll deliver it on time, we'll deliver it hot and fresh. I have a full menu up, www.foodandrhythmgrill.com. Also, the Stafford Bengals, this is our first year. We are a nonprofit organization based in and around Stafford. We are an organization that's dedicated to the development, both the mental and the athletic and physical development of our K through 4 students. We also help the older kids get trained and or get them placed on competitive AAU basketball teams. You can find us at Crossover Athletics Gym, which is located in Stafford. We also have a program called Showcase Elite. That is the basketball program that sponsors our organization. So you can see me training and helping to train the kids. We have awesome trainers. We focus on motor skills. We focus on body physical development. It's not just basketball. So we are definitely dedicated to providing that service to the community. Look for us next year. We'll have 2 teams on the court. We'll have a 3rd grade team and a 6th grade team, and then we'll have the Stafford Bengals basketball club logo. So that's what we got working right now. Extremely excited. Please feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to pass my information along.
Absolutely.
I love the network, and I love to learn some new stuff from people I don't know.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining in for today's session on Expert Speaks. And please reach out to Trevor if indeed you need some delicious food, or if you just want to be a part of the community and play some basketball. All right, we will see you again, and thank you all, and bye-bye.
Thank you.